What's up, guys? Welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, hi, I'm Ntonano, and if you're coming back, thank you for tuning right back in. Firstly, to everybody who has subscribed, notification gang, I see you guys. We are on 85 subscribers. I think we're about to hit our first 100 subscribers. I don't know, do you want me to do like a giveaway? Because I feel like I need to do a giveaway, to thank you guys, because I sort of appreciate y'all. And if you're new and you haven't subscribed already, please do hit the subscribe button. It is absolutely free and you can enjoy more videos and become part of the family. Okay. I just want to talk about an effective and efficient study method, right? I've tried so many study methods in my study career. I've done the notes taking, I've done the reading out loud. I've tried them all, okay? But there was only one method that stuck out for me and that worked for me, and it's the method I'm about to share with you guys today. So if you do want to find out, I hope you stay right here to know what this is. Let me give you a brief background on this method, right? In my first year, I came from varsity. I didn't have a study method, but then I studied and I paused because it's first year. I paused, but then I sort of lost my bursary. And then in second year, my bursary was like, no, actually, if you get an average of 65% in your second year, we can reinstate your bursary. So I sort of had to look for a method that really works and be dedicated enough for this method to actually work for me. And at the end of my second year, I did get that above 65 even average for my bursary, and it got reinstated. So I am not trying to sell you guys dreams that do not work. This method has been tried by me. It has worked for me, okay? So yeah, let's get on right. A few of my notes, I'm gonna just be reading it out of that. So the first thing, guys, is the note taking, right? Obviously, this method sort of needs you to start with it right at the beginning of the year before everything gets hectic. But it's okay if you start now with the remainder of the year, and if you have time, you can go back, right? So the first thing that you need to do is to take notes. So what I mean by taking notes is that you read your textbook, right? And you understand what they're saying. You summarize it for yourself in your notebook, okay? So the first thing that I'm going to remind you with the notes taking phase is that do not fall into the transfer trap. What I mean by this is do not transfer word for word from the textbook to the notebook, because honestly that does not help you in any way. Okay, you're just going to have a duplicate of your textbook and it's going to take you forever to revise that information. So do not fall into the trap of transferring your textbook. Secondly, when you're summarizing, use keywords, right? So summaries normally are like around 2 pages at most. If it's such a big topic, maybe 3, okay? In those pages, be sure to use keywords. So basically what I'm trying to tell you is that use keywords that are easy to remember. Remember, your notebook is your own, it's your own words, it's your own understanding. So that's what you're gonna do. Okay, so that's the first phase, notes taking. If you're somebody who attends class, you can take notes in class, but for me that didn't work because I couldn't multitask. I couldn't listen and then at the same time write down stuff, right? So I'd just go to class to listen, to get like a background understanding, and then I'd go back after class while the information is still fresh in my mind, sit down and actually do right. The second thing to do is to attempt a class example. Normally, right, lectures have slides and then they have class examples in the slides. I don't know if your lecture doesn't have slides, but I'm talking from this point of view. So what you're going to do is you're going to take the class example and you're going to work through the class example. Remember, a class example is designed to give you a sort of a basic understanding. It's designed to test the most basic understanding of the concept. So the most logical thing to do after you studied the theory would be to test with the class example if you actually understand what you studied, right? So with the class example, it's easy. It's normally a class example there and the memo there. So you just sort of read through the information and then you do the class example. But remember to avoid the OYA method when you're doing the class example. And this is a trap for most of us because the memo is right there and the question is right there. So you sort of just, okay, I would have gotten this. OYA method will never work, guys. You need to actually attempt the class example question. So it gives you a basic understanding of the concept, so you can see whether you need to go back to the theory or you can now proceed to the next step, right? So working with the memo in the class example works like this. You're gonna read through it and you're gonna attempt the question. Normally what I used to do with class examples is I would sort of do the question with the memo open, right? So I wouldn't like write it down and like do everything. I just sort of read the question, read the required, and then okay, go to the memo. This is what they want me to do. But the key thing and the trap that gets most of us is that you just sort of look through the memo and see this would have been the answer for A, this would have been the answer for B. And that's the wrong approach. The right approach, rather, is to actually think about the memo, right? So think to yourself, why are they using this approach and not that approach? Why is this wrong and this one right? Like, think about it. Like, your mind must be engaged. Your mind must be processing the information from the memo. So the third thing, and that is the most important part in efficient and effective studying, is attempting the questions. Listen, I had a phobia, okay, to attempting questions. So the one thing I'd want to do is actually do the theory and the class examples, because those were easy. I know I could get them at any time. I just sort of wanted to be in the comfort zone of at least I know something. Because the thing about questions is you're going to do it and then you're going to realize, oh, flip, I don't know these things. And that's why you need to do questions, for you to know stuff you don't know. Do you get it? I'm going to discuss this in 3 parts, right? The first part in attempting to do a question is the actual reading of the question, okay? So you have this long question. Normally in accounting, you get like pages and pages and pages of information. So the first thing that you need to do is to read carefully the question, right? So when you're reading, highlight the relevant information. Look out for triggers in a question that will guide you sort of how to answer this question. If you're doing, for example, an accounting question, right? You need to highlight things like the year end of the company. You need to highlight things like, is this company a private or a public company? You need to highlight things like, who are the shareholders? You need to highlight, that type of information. You sort of need to highlight and train your mind to sort of pick up all the triggers in the question, and for you to sort of start thinking of your answering approach, because obviously the triggers in the question will sort of direct you into what kind of questions they might ask. It will sort of direct you into what approach you sort of need to take. So that's the first step. Secondly, the second part to answering the question is the actual doing of the question. Back to me again. This is what I used to do, right? I had 4 majors. I'd have 4 hardcover books where I do my notes taking. I have another 4 hardcover books where I attempt my questions, including class examples, right? So I just open a French new page and start answering this question. So I know what the triggers are. I sort of have a feel of where this question is going. I get the required and I sit down and do the question, right? Now, in doing the question, guys, you need to give yourself enough time to do a question. And I know I've done accounting. I know in accounting they sort of tell you that this question should take you 55 minutes or this question should take you 30 minutes. Listen, you are still studying. This is the studying part, or this is the studying phase of that year. You do not, under any circumstances, need to feel pressured to finish the question in 55 minutes. If it takes you longer, let it take you longer, because the end goal of studying is to understand. It will not do you any good if you can finish a question in 55 minutes and lose out on important marks that you could have gotten had you just taken a little bit longer to actually think about it. Do you get what I'm saying? So for me personally, I never used to be the person who would practice with time. Like, if they tell me this question is supposed to take me 55 minutes, I'd literally do it in however time it takes me to complete that question and actually understand. And that brings me to the third phase of doing the question, which is the actual marking of the question. So now you have done your question, you have not looked at the memo, not even once. Do not look at the memo when you're doing the question. That's the thing about looking at the memo, is you train your mind that if I don't know this, there is always an answer I can go look at. Remember, in your exam room, the lecturer is not going to give you the question paper and the memo. Your mind sort of needs to be trained to think for itself. It needs to be trained to solve problems, to look for solutions, to come up with solutions. And that is why we study, to train our minds to think, you know. So don't peek at the memo at any time. Do not do it. It's not gonna help you. You have your attempt to the question, and you have the memo. You're gonna mark through your paper for everything that you got wrong, or for every important thing that you got wrong. You need to write down why you got it wrong. Did you get it wrong because it's a concept that you didn't actually understand? Did you get it right because you actually didn't know what the question was asking? Or you got it wrong because you simply do not understand that part? This helps you when you're now revising to say, I need to revise this, and that because I don't quite understand. But for this and this and this, I got it right. So my mind actually comprehends what that means, right? So you don't need to go back and revise everything. No, you actually just revise the stuff you don't know. Got it? That is my method. And just going to tell you and summarize for you the basic benefit of this method, right? So the benefit is you already have your 3-pager notes, right? You've already attempted questions relating to this topic. And remember, by attempting questions, you don't just do one question, you do as much questions as time allows you in your studying throughout, the year, right? So you've already done the questions, you already have a notebook for this particular module. Come exam season, because we all know that exam time, nobody has time. We just do not have time to go back to the textbook and do January work. We don't have time. So the benefit is you have a 3-pager for this topic that you can revise in 15 minutes. You have a question that's already done and marked, and you wrote what you didn't understand. So just go revise the stuff you didn't actually understand, because the stuff you understood, it's in your brain. So that is actually the efficient part of this study method. It just makes things easier. You just sit there on your couch and read through your 3-pager notes and look through your question. Revision is done. You get what I'm saying? So yeah, that's how I got through second year. That's how I got an above 65% average in second year and got my bursary reinstated. This method actually really did work for me. So if you're looking for something that is going to work for you in your upcoming exams, or you're looking for something that is just going to help you pass, this is the method. This is definitely the method for you. So if you enjoyed this video, give it a massive thumbs up, and don't forget to subscribe to my channel for more tips and lessons on studying and careers and stuff. Okay, I love you guys. I'll see you guys in my next video. Bye bye.